too.
Now you're friends. That's the problem.
What's that?
You don't want to be
Did
friends.
you know you were a good friend with him?
Yeah, I know. I mean, did you sign something or?
He,
What happened?
he introduces me in various ways.
When you've said something bad about him, you're a good friend.
Keep your enemies close. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, keep your enemies close. He tried.
You know, I listened to one from 2010 today,
Yeah.
December 4th, 2010. That was very clear.
Really?
Yeah.
It's gotten worse.
Yeah, it's gone downhill.
Maybe because you can't remember, like, what it's like to be a pathetic human anymore. I don't know.
Could be that, yeah. The bridge is gone.
Yeah.
I listened to one today and he kind of got a little political rant and I thought, that's interesting.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Something about like, not the government's not supposed to like make laws about gun control. The government's supposed to do something with money or something. I forget.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like Iceland. Sell the bank, give it to the people.
I didn't know he had an opinion, it doesn't matter.
Maybe he's just given up because he's been saying the same thing since 2010. And it's like,
This was from 13.
even if it was very clear, where has it gotten anyone?
Yeah.
But maybe you, his good friend.
I found him clear, but just that, like, everything's so contradictory that it, maybe I shouldn't even, like, try to analyze things or
Yeah.
get confused, why bother, you know?
Hmm.
Maybe it's not as contradictory as it is and concrete.
Huh. Now, good luck with that.
I know, there's nothing to do for that.
Yeah. No remedy for that.
Never do that.
I heard something that was said that kind of landed, and it was like, 99% of all that we really believe or think is true isn't.
Only 99%?
Only 99. How about 100? Yeah.
Man,
I don't know where that
I'd
1%
really
is
like-
coming
really
from.
like
but
to
that's
get my
a good way
hands
to
on
keep
that.
hanging on.
on that 1%. Maybe the 1% is like, I think I have to use the loo.
Yeah, maybe, but not really because
That's about
you
it.
know,
Yeah,
lots of things I can't think can still pee, seemingly.
Well, it might be useful in this glorious endeavor to, first withdraw from belief, withdraw from superstition, withdraw from everything that's been suggested by everybody. And you could say start fresh with your so-called present experience. Now your attention is renewed, right? You can tune, listen, see, feel, consider whatever call it the baseline is of what we refer to as present experience. Now, it doesn't mean you have to find anything. It doesn't mean you have to have an answer or solve a question or a puzzle, spiritual or otherwise. Just start here, not being sure or certain or fond of anything, and see what that feels like. Present availability, present curiosity. That's all. No object. No question even. Just, oh. Hi, hello. The fuck is this? Now, I think it's safe to say that all the gurus and all the aspirants have to, let's use the word start, at this same so-called place. Where else can you begin? Then, right about here, right about now, completely refreshed from the influence of any knowledge whatsoever. Ta-da! And that's it. Now, anything that shows up, and obviously it appears that a lot shows up. Whatever shows up to rattle your cage, or or present to you a conundrum, or present to you some kind of insufficiency. Whatever shows up is a hallucinatory. What else could it be? It's just an implication. It's an impulse. Whether it's a thought or a feeling or a memory, or even a spiritual experience. The fuck is it? It's an impulse field of some kind. And these impulse fields are on tap. You could say nonstop, which means you're capable of imagining anything about yourself, about presence, about reality, were there any, your past, your present, your future, how it's going, how it's going to go better if you have anything to do about it, or how it's going to go worse if you start sliding, failing somehow. Your health matters to you. Your stuff matters to you. Your relationships matter to you. These are all accoutrements of self. Accoutrements that define just how important and vital and valuable you must be to the world at large, or to the people that love or don't care so much about you. And these are all impositions, songs of the humpback self, songs of myself.
It also just seems to be like a way that this does to keep this feeling that it's patterned, which, you know, feels more comfortable for itself, or just enjoys it, I don't know, but compared to patternless, which is...
Yeah. The whole yoga is weaning oneself from the hysteria of pattern
Imaginary pattern.
and becoming sanguine of patternlessness.
Somehow, subtly, I think I still thought that there was like energetic patterns.
Oh yeah?
You know what I mean? You could trick yourself into like all this weird, like there were energetic patterns, but they like I couldn't fit, like they weren't, mine couldn't grasp them, but they were still patterns. Like no,
Yeah.
there's no patterns at all. It's all
Well, it's this is why it's so confusing. the discovery is, oh fuck, there's no patterns at all.
No patterns.
But that discovery is made within the midst of unceasing patterns.
Yeah, they all just point back to no patterns.
Yeah, you're fucked.
But there's
Sometimes
no,
it's pattern overload.
Well,
Along the way.
you could say all the time it's pattern overload, and we're just doing some kind of improvisational pattern reduction, to get through the day.
Right.
Otherwise, it's the fainting goat.
The pattern of least common denominator.
Yeah, right. So this is the conundrum that you have to face, is that in the midst of unceasing, unyielding, demanding pattern, and the empathy of pattern recognition, which suggests self, there's no pattern at all. Now, you don't end up anywhere. There's no place to end up. Reality, not that there is any, or the urgency of creation, leaves you where? Nowhere. It just, creation never becomes anything. It can't. Which is a little strange, because we think, no, the Big Bang meant that creation took nothing at all and made this fucking shit. But it didn't. Because this is only implied. Now, it's kind of devastating in a good way to consider that, that creation doesn't create anything. Which leaves you where exactly? It's pretty weird.
And a quandary. as you-
cascading
Yeah, and a
fractal
quandary.
information in real time.
With a capital Q. That sounds like ouch. Yeah. I mean, don't we mess around in the ways that we do with, secular activities and so-called spiritual activities in hopes that there'll be some kind of deliverable? I will get this, understand this, be transmuted by this, end fear, and sorrow, and grief, and selfishness and self-interest. See things more clearly, if not exotically. Good luck. Since this never actually becomes anything, well, it's not anything right now. So if you have the slightest interest in a deliverable that could benefit you somehow, you can only find one by making it up. You can only find one through, some kind of heresy. And then you become somehow relevant to other human beings because you can fix their blockages, you can help them with their emotional shit, you can assist them with, their abundance issues. Maybe you can have intercourse with them if it's consenting. That's a win-win. If it's not consenting, oh well.
Hopefully you're on the winning side.
Hopefully you're on the winning side of that equation. That's right.
Unless you're into the other version of it.
Unless you're into the other version. Then that's a win too. So you got to put down your shields, turn the phasers off, not just to stun, but really turn them off. Disarm the photon torpedoes and just float out there in Romulan space and see what comes for you. Mm. So pattern recognition, which is nonstop, will not leave you alone. Maybe at death, I don't know. We'll have to talk to Selig and see if
Let's
there's
come back.
give us some
Yeah.
insight from the other side about that shit. But pattern recognition and its impulse field, which is the act of creation. You know,
Spinning other patterns out of the combined patterns that we have.
yeah, you can see that. Yeah, you can see that it's a fractal wonderland of pattern implication, which is, you know, nonlinear. You know, you could say multivalent or multidimensional, because patterns and pattern recognition and pattern impulse in the universes that patterns imply have no practical limitation. I mean, we could even borrow from the, you know, biologic field or the Hubble deep field and see that, you know, pattern recognition's gone wild, kind of like girls on spring break. Yeah. So you see, we try to navigate or negotiate or set a course for Alpha Centauri within the context of the hallucination of our life. In other words, we've taken purchase or delivery of the sonorous nature of pattern and pattern recognition and implication. And we've turned that into, oh, I was born. Dude, you weren't. So our imagination becomes consumed by humanocentric story.
That's a centric word I've never heard before. That's a good one.
Humanocentric. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not talking about major appliances.
So they're included in this.
So those are included, yeah.
Yeah.
Part of the package, yeah.
The people who are void-centric are just really
Yeah,
on drugs.
void-centric, very strange, yeah. Some of my best friends are void-centric. But this doesn't mean that, you know, things in your so-called life are going to get better, easier, resolve any differently, become more humorous, or even easier to manage, or nothing. I mean, consciousness blows. And yet, we love it.
Is it the consciousness or is it the content of it that blows?
Well, pick on whatever you like. You know, so.
I don't think it's the content, because the content sometimes is really not so bad. So,
Yeah. If the content's, you know, throwing a fury at you, then the content blows. If the
Yeah.
content is chill, but you're still existentially restless, well, then the consciousness blows.
yeah.
So, you know,
We need a double blind study.
No, that's what we've got. Triple
This is
blind.
extra blind.
We've got an extra blind study
Boy blind.
where it's all placebo and nothing is true. Yeah, and no one actually heals. Everyone just dies. So the study's ongoing.
Yeah, I think we are the experiment.
Yeah, pretty much. So fixity, the sense of fixity, is turns out to be this present existential conundrum.
Yeah, fixity. Mhm.
The pressure of present experience. What to do about it. Or what to do with myself in its midst. Right?
Yeah, the whole existential thing.
The whole existential thing. Yeah. Yeah. So some folks would like to think that something like enlightenment turns out to be a reliable amelioration of the whole existential thing, but at a superficial level. And a lot of people have so-called experiences where, for a time, maybe even for a long time, whatever that means, they are, their existential thing is somehow, ameliorated or made sanguine or comfortable for them somehow. So they go out and teach something, or they ask someone to teach. And I mean, the pinnacle of your human experience turns out to be being interviewed by Rick Archer. If you haven't been
What a
interviewed
disappointment.
by Rick Archer, go back to the drawing board. Call your guru and get your money back.
It's a sorry state of affairs.
It is a pretty sorry state of affairs. That's right.
Who is Rick Archer?
It's best you don't know.
Just forget about him.
Don't start. Just leave your popcorn all over the floor.
You're obliged to pick that up.
Don't ask about the McNays either.
Well, the good news is I will be joining you guys tomorrow night.
You got in
I got in.
Oh,
for the
boy.
weekend?
Gonna be fireworks.
I was permitted to be in for the weekend, but I chose just to be in for tomorrow night.
Wow. He didn't open up any seats when I asked him to. You must have some kind of like
What, for Saturday? You're going tomorrow, right?
tomorrow, yeah. I asked him if there were more seats for Friday so other people could come and
Oh,
enjoy Gary Weber just for Friday.
Apparently, I got in under the wire.
Oh, someone had just canceled maybe. I see. All right. Well, there you go.
You guys have that profound connection. So.
Yeah,
I've been tuning.
right.
Instant.
Damn.
Well, it does seem though that the content
Yeah,
so easily can be acrimonious
yes,
because it's not vibing in the same way you're vibing.
yes.
No?
Okay, so yes, of course. Let's just notch it back.
Mhm.
The same way, to use your words, you're vibing.
Yeah.
Let's go to the you're.
Yeah.
You see?
Well, there you go.
Right? I mean, isn't the content an after the fact of some kind of inhabitation that I would refer to as I, me, my, right? And if I was accusing you of it, I would say you're.
Presumably, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, but can you let go of the I mean my without and
Hang on.
still be content?
too quick. So we appreciate the content is acrimonious.
Yeah.
So we notch it back and we're like, fuck the content.
Yeah.
Because the content has to first be appearing to some sense of duration or durability of self, right? As born, as being, as maybe I'll get out of bed today at some
So there
point.
may be content, but it doesn't land.
Well, see, the content and the disquietude that may accompany the content is superficial. Yeah. So if we become content hunters, you know, what's that show with that big heavy guy, Dog? Who does he go hunting for? Bounty hunter. See, we become a bounty hunter for content. You know, I'm gonna lock you up. You know, content, it's too fast, right? It's gotcha. You can't really do anything with content. Because, I mean, that's a whack-a-mole, right? Oh yeah, I got that. Whoa! You know, you're done. Even if you have 3 hammers. Even if you're Kali and you've got, 12 arms, 12 hammers, whack-a-mole is gonna take you down. So the content, as acrimonious or as pleasurable, right, and ecstatic as it can be, is not your destination, and is not the deliverable, and is not the problem. But most spiritual teachers, the ones that make money anyway, convince you that they're going to assist you with your content, which may include the beliefs that you bring to the table in how you negotiate with content. But it's very, very rare that the so-called, call them a teacher, whatever, invites you to take a notch or 2 back and go to the root of the acrimonious display, which is, you tell me, right? Yeah. I mean, Nisargadatta was wonderful in that way, provocative and profound, and took the whole, Dharma to that next notch that Krishnamurti could not get to, which was, I mean, in his own experience, of course, I would imagine Krishnamurti had no problem with it, but in his oratory over 50 plus years, it was difficult for him to emphasize, take a step back. The Grateful Dead do that at most concerts. They play that game, everyone take a step back, so that people in the front don't get crushed. Yeah, so take a step back, and before the content starts becoming a problem for you, tell me what this is.
I was listening to the Gary Weber on one of his things.
Uh-huh.
If I understood him correctly, what he was saying was that at some point, and he's giving credit, he seemed to be giving credit to certain things, but
Yeah.
at some point he said, for the most part, he dropped thought. So he's just been sort of like existing, and we've all sort of had moments or days or a couple hours or something of maybe this kind of experience where he had like thoughts just were there. He was sort of in the void, I guess, or in the for lack of a better word, like not in thought.
Yeah. Right.
His experience was when he had to interact with his world.
Yes.
Or his illusion.
That's right.
World, whatever.
The muggle scurrying about at his feet.
When he had to react with people and things in his environment,
Yes.
he was coming from sort of like a tabula rasa place,
Right.
and so he could just, like, he seemed to he described his experience as being in the moment. So he was responding to things in the moment,
Yeah.
and it was like something else was taking over, and it like things were getting done better. His relationships were better.
Yeah. Let me get out my fiddle. Go ahead.
Okay.
Life's going
But-
my way. Yeah.
I mean,
The problem is this, that I don't have any quarrel with, Gary or the wonderful things that happened to him in his life, but I would hope at some point you get beyond drawing any attention to how smoothly or unsmoothly things are going for you, because you've lucked out by being free from thought and then functioning, as a tabula rasa. I mean, yeah, okay, that's great. I'm glad to hear it. But you see, then what happens is the so-called student thinks that what Gary's saying is true, or that perhaps it can be replicated somehow. And then the student goes in search of no thought, because the way Gary's living, or the way he's portraying the way he's living, sounds a lot better than the way I live, which is, self-deprecating heresy pretty much 24/7. So yeah, everything functions that way. The way Gary's functioning is the way you're functioning. Everything is functioning that way. This is doing itself. And actually it's doing itself as smoothly as it could possibly, which includes San Bernardino and Planned Parenthood and every other fucking thing that these, that makes us crazy.
Well, he said, at one point, he said in this little short thing that I listened to, he said that he had no compassion.
Compassion?
Yeah. It was like the, in other words, what I think he was alluding to was that it wasn't like, sort of the opposite, I guess, of.
Well, it's a play on Buddhist misunderstanding, because compassion is seen as an accoutrement of self, which is an enviable or valuable destination, so that you can behave, let's say, toward yourself and your own crappy vicissitudes and so-called others in a way that, makes things smooth. So from that point of view, he's not mistaken. He has no compassion because he's not concerned with self, either his own or anybody else's. So compassion, as it's generally understood, becomes moot, discardable. The way compassion is understood in the West, which is a bastardization of bodhicitta, means, acts sense of empathy. Fuck that. I mean, who gives a fuck?
Non-bastardization.
The non-bastardization of bodhicitta is this, just as it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing an act of compassion, it's really self-serving in some sense, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Or if you're doing the opposite, you're acting, mean.
Well, see, this is the problem with Gary's
Self-serving. in some sense.
emphases. The problem is that you get jammed back into the loop of behavioral relevancy. Oh, I was this way then, but I'm this way now. And I have these qualities and these qualities, but not these qualities and not these qualities. And if you look carefully at me, because I'm so happy to share with you, my life's better than yours. But don't worry, as soon as you take my program and stop having thoughts, your life's going to be good too.
I mean, that's
like the hook. That's the hook from all of these people. They pretend to give you a non-dual implication, but the relevance of that non-dual implication goes back to the myth of self. And it becomes some kind of, behavioral adventure. Transhuman is trans fucking human. And that's what this is. It's transhuman.
But from my vantage point right now,
Yeah.
I can only say that I don't know what I can only say.
Well, that's good. There is nothing to say. From your vantage point right now, you can't say shit, and you're not alone. Nobody can.
In a way, that's exactly true.
Yeah.
In a way, that's 100% true.
That's enough.
Right, and that's kind of the point, but maybe that is just the point.
Maybe. Well, that's the discovery.
Well, I get the impression that there's some of these folks that come on and that really are kind of stunning in the beginning when you first hear them.
Stunning is good.
Eckhart Tolle certainly comes to mind.
Yeah.
Now, Gary Weber, it seems like they always have somebody else as like translator or something. Not so much Eckhart, but he has an organization that does that. But for Gary, there's this dude that seems to always be talking to him. When you go to his website and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Dolan, I think.
Okay, right.
And it's like, man,
He's the fluffer.
yeah, he's the fluffer. You got it. It's like, I don't want no stinking fluffer.
No, of course not.
It's very annoying, I think.
What about Fluffer?
Yeah, she's back.
Well, that brought her back.
She's back. Fluffer? Fluffer, nutter? It's very annoying.
Yeah. I mean, I can hardly even judge what the deal is. I mean, it gets very academic and.
Well, let's forget about Gary Weber because he's not important.
Yeah.
Not now, not ever.
It's
Yeah.
just.
Go back to your own, the authenticity that you can call upon in your own present experience. That's more fun.
Licorice, I think. What, did you smell it or something?
Yeah, maybe I'll take your used tea bag.
Okay, yeah, take it.
Some licorice water.
Yeah. Help yourself.
You're so easily distracted.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
If I can't get enlightenment through you, at least I can use your tea bag.
Tea bag.
May I use your tea bag?
No one like me.
That
Well, the popcorn.
popcorn you kind of chewed up, but not really.
Yeah.
Can I have
Do you have some spare popcorn, perhaps? Some kernels you haven't yet swallowed?
I had a little moment today. I was finishing yoga and I used this blanket that it's a what do you call it when people make them homemade?
Afghan.
No,
Quilt.
it's crochet. Well, it's embroidered. It's an
Yeah.
embroidered comforter kind of thing.
The cat on it.
No,
Oh,
it's got
okay.
squares upon squares, like lots of squares, and it's from Dave's family from way back when.
Oh, all right.
And it's probably got, hundreds of names on it, all carefully needle pointed in.
Wow.
And it's probably.
It's an ancestral.
He thought it was like
blanket.
150 years old. And I'm like sitting there with this thing on me, and I realized
Oh,
it's
thanks.
kind of like a graveyard in my
The what?
life.
Mercury.
There wasn't a name on that thing
Oh
of
my
a single person that
gosh.
was still alive, guaranteed.
Maybe you want to give that blanket away
I'm looking at it, it's like.
before they embroider your
This is a
name in it.
really interesting reminder, like every name on that thing, every person behind the name is dead. Guaranteed.
Nice.
It's like, it sort of stepped me back a little bit,
Sure. Yeah.
And this is gonna come and go and we'll be dust and
Yep.
gone.
That's what they say.
Not like we don't know, but it's an interesting reminder.
Maybe we should make some sort of declaration of independence and we'll sign it.
Declaration of it.
Oh, like a new one?
There's something left.
It's like the, I mean, it is an interesting the Carlos Castaneda thing is there's that constant theme of like human beings think they're immortal. They just kind of go about like they have forever.
Yeah.
And the warrior path is kind of like, no, you just have, there is no, but I feel like that's also more like talking about the death of yourself than of the self
Well,
than
here's the constant
physical death.
the constant invitation, which is, never leaves you, is this, call it starting place. You see what thought does, what distraction does. It makes you think you've left the starting place.
Well, that's the constant bringing, that is the death. It's like bringing it back to this and seeing that there was no birth. There is no, you know what I mean? That is the kind of constant.
Now, the recognition of this, having no genesis, no beginning, no deliverable, completely refreshes awareness to be content free. Not just content free. It refreshes awareness so that it's relaxed from the imposition of I. That's what you have. You have this. The I has not gotten a hold of your throat, and content is all Teflon. Now there's no becoming.
Well, you're not trying to hold on to the content. You know.
You have no clause. You see, our psychiatric dilemma is we invest in the presentation of content. Self is assigned to it, which is a simultaneity. It's not this happens, then that happens. It's really a bursting forth. No. So here we are, if we're anywhere. Attention is irrefutable. Presence, attention, awareness, curiosity, feeling is irrefutable. But it doesn't convey anything. Not agency, not I, and no content. Even to have a couple seconds of it, an effortless gift of, call it inner quietude or inner silence. No more tangle, no more entanglement.
I think it's there a whole lot more than we know.
Could be the only thing that is. So maybe it is there a lot more than we know.
Well, by inner quietude, you don't mean thoughts stopping or anything. Even the conflict doesn't necessarily stop. It's just like that you just something doesn't pay as much attention to it or something. It's not, or it's not, none of it's an issue. It's just like whatever. It doesn't mean anything.
Attention is not reified. It's not my attention, and it's not attending to anything.
You know, you don't give a shit unless it has something to do with you. That's what's funny. It's just like cascading fractal light implication, whatever.
Right.
It can be fascinating, but you don't really care that much.
Well, see, this is renunciation. Renunciation is not about the color of your clothing or whether you're fucking or not, or whether you're touching money or anything, or that you, or whether you own anything or not. It's nothing to do with that. Renunciation is this right here, having nothing to do with whatever appears in it.
It's strange that that feels so good. But it's a different kind of, you know, it's very weird. It doesn't necessarily look ecstatic.
No.
Because it's just like.
Yeah, no. It can, I mean, it can look ecstatic if you for whatever karmic reason are moving through a, you know, a Kundalini yogic field.
But it doesn't.
It can look really ecstatic. Yeah. but it doesn't have to.
Somehow going straight to letting go of
Yeah.
the ownership or the authorship of the I Me My.
Yeah,
Without somehow letting the content go. I mean, it's a wave, it seems to me. You know, the content, it seems to me that the content has to be seen in a blank way, you know.
there's disinterest.
Before.
Yeah, but even the I Me My doesn't necessarily. I can walk around claiming shit as much. It doesn't matter because the disinterest is more prominent than.
Well, it's a degree thing, is what you're saying. It's a matter of degree.
It's not like, you don't take out the garbage if you're asked because you're disinterested or, ignoring it.
No, I mean, it could be the best part of your day.
Yeah, uh-huh.
We're not talking about recalcitrance
Yeah.
or ambivalence or,
Disassociation.
disassociation or task agreeability. Take out the
Not
garbage.
claiming things or anything.
Rightio.
Yeah. No,
But
it's still my sweater and I want it. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
Listening to those people that,
No. Don't listen to those people. Start here.
to go back to.
Those people can't fucking help you.
They go back to the claiming,
Yeah.
as far as the practice goes, and I know there's this notion that there's no need to do anything. But it's like
But there's no need not to.
and to jump a phase or a level or
There are no phases.
what do you call it?
There's no levels.
Valence, that's the word.
hmm Electron orbit. Yeah.
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 Then there's
Yeah. Then there's.
something that
Mhm.
may trigger that. Who knows? And it seems to me that a triggering can be a practice where you actually come to terms and have a sense about just poof, letting it all go, just letting it go as a practice, not necessarily
Too much pressure.
lack of ownership, but just letting it go. And then pretty soon it's quite obvious that there's no ownership, and then it starts to play. But it seems to me that in talking about it sometimes when I hear these things like lack of ownership or personalization of things,
Yeah.
that almost seems like a secondary thing.
Everything's secondary. Everything is secondary because nothing's happening right now. Anything you do with or anything you do about anything is secondary. It's not primary because it's appearing in a field of hallucination, of pattern imposition.
The Matrix.
Yes,
Those
But there
guys.
is
those guys.
What would you call it? Disposition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or nothing, that drops all of that stuff. And I guess.
There's not.
I'm sort of saying that's the null set of nothing, of something.
Well, I mean, if you start out with a piece of construction paper and a few crayons, that makes some sense. But put your crayons down. Share your crayons.
Give them away.
Give your crayons away.
And you.
And share your tea bag. And half-eaten popcorn is welcome in this circle. Don't ask me why.
We're like birds, we'll just like.
Yeah. I mean, these metaphors are all, they're all lovely. They're all cogent. They weave a certain kind of tapestry that sometimes is satisfying and sometimes is not satisfying. But you can see that it's appearing as an effulgence.
But it can be destructive, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Sure. Right.
I mean, if you see,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the key that unlocks certain things and they sort of fall away, and then pretty soon
That's right.
there's not much left.
How about now? not much left. Like,
Hey, I'm a tough case.
I know, you're a tough case. That's right. That's why the new Night Sky Sangha t-shirts also all say, help Jamie.
Support Sparky.
We've all taken a Mahayana vow. We promise not to get enlightened until you do. So would you mind
Speak for
hurrying?
yourself.
So just, can you kind of like, hurry it up, Jamie? You're keeping us
Just
all
has a
down.
picture of Jamie, and then on the back it says pattern junkie.
I'm
No.
right at that event.
Pattern junkie.
So walk it back again, you see, rather than go to some kind of metaphoric, field. Just one small baby step back. Presence doesn't require an explanation. It doesn't actually do anything. So there's no point in trying to figure out what happens if this happens or what happens if this doesn't happen. There's not much point to it.
Sometimes I just want to bang my head against the wall, like, stop thinking.
Sometimes you should, maybe. Yeah. Right. Mhm. Yeah. No, of course. Thinking is very painful.
Not that it's the thoughts, I mean, sometimes they are, but most of the times it's just blah, 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 blah. It's just a thought.
Yeah.
Like you want to like,
Well, that's why you go back,
la, 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 la.
take a step back, take another step back, notch it back, take a baby step, start fresh. Just start fresh. See if you can. See if you can start fresh. That your present experience is more than sufficient to begin anew. Nothing has happened to you before this moment. Nothing binds you. You may have all kinds of so-called obligations in the world that you're happy to attend to or you despise. But so what? Just start fresh. That's the yoga. Always start fresh. Feel yourself unfettered. Feel yourself, you could say, completely dignified by nothing at all. The presence or absence of thoughts is not important. And it may be that Gary Weber is just choosing a certain kind of path of description that's, I would like to say, is a lot stranger, more lucid, more curious than the way that he's espousing it as an academician and a researcher that imagines that by sitting X number of thousands of hours in a lifetime, you're going to have a better chance at something. Everything is happening of its own nature, spontaneously appearing. You don't have an iota of will. I mean, forget about a thimbleful. You don't have a cork's worth.
Ooh, what is that thing? I don't like bugs.
I know, I just saw something floating there.
Centipede.
Well, I'm sorry.
Wait, let me know.
Oh.
The poor little centipede.
I'm sorry.
We thought this was like a Buddhist gathering.
There goes the Mahayana
Yeah,
Yeah, oh well.
enlightenment.
I didn't want.
I appreciate that.
Amongst kings,
Apologize.
some things live and some things die.
2,000 light.
When you're this big, little things underfoot don't have a chance.
Well, I don't like things like that. when you can't really see them and you just know that something's there, it's going to crawl up your,
Crawl in your ear,
or it's
die
going
or
to crawl
Yeah,
up your.
that's how this
can't
feels
move.
about you. It cares as much about you as does
It couldn't have
Yeah.
handled its
and that's
life
actually a
better.
good thing.
Consciousness thinks you're going to crawl in its ear.
It doesn't care. It's not, yeah. You can see how much you don't care. You know what I mean? It's like, if it's not you and it doesn't make you just like, I'll just kill it. Who cares, right?
Pretty
But
much.
but you think, no, this cares about me. It's like clearly,
Uh-huh.
you know, if it's fractal and you see like the implication of like how much you don't care if it doesn't have anything to do with you personally,
Yeah.
then why would it care? You know?
Best to use a miracle ball and a fresh cup of tea. Okay, so try again.
Got upstaged by a
Refresh.
The assassination of something.
The centipede moment is gone. Refresh.
And you don't, it's not like you cling to anything. There's nothing to cling to.
Why do things seemingly like, I'm not going to think about the centipede. I'm not going to think about the centipede. I'm thinking about the centipede. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why do you get like seemingly obsessed with the thought of the centipede in my ear? The centipede, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Let that completely run wild, and then next thing you know, you're on meds and in the hospital.
It can be that fast.
Went wild.
It can go that quick. Yeah,
Wow.
that's right. There I was having a piece of popcorn, and somebody killed a centipede, and now I'm in the hospital. I don't even remember how I got here. Yeah. Well, this is the fun thing to see, is that the invitation for refresh is full. The embrace is complete. See, this way the creation event doesn't snooker you into thinking that it's capable of creating something. That's why the obsession. You could trace all the obsession back to the imagination that creation creates something. But it doesn't and it can't. There's just creation.
Just unadorned, raw.
That's all there is. Yep. And that's saying too much.
Constant.
Yeah.
I mean, that's change. That's constant, continuous change.
Yes. Right. Hmm. This moment never happened before, will never happen again.
Wait,
Yeah.
I won't remember it.
Yeah. I want to remember myself as I was. Yeah. But to get a taste of this is, you know, the more than halfway there, if not the whole way there. You get a taste of this, and what we call desire is not present. Desire is ameliorated. Craving is ameliorated. Explanation,
Unnecessary.
unnecessary. There's no becoming. Now, we're not talking about a psychiatric condition or something that is the result of a spiritual practice. Thanks. We're not talking about a belief. Thank you. Or the denial of anything. I mean, what the fuck? You see, so all things so-called spiritual have to resolve to right here, this refresh. Because if something spiritual suggests that you would be better off someplace else, or would be better off with some other experience other than this one, it's got you. Ka-ching. Now you're lost again in the hysteria of implication.
Cascading fractal implication that goes on forever.
Yeah. It's not that difficult to feel this, since that's where you'll launch from. All thought, all emotion, all sensation. Launch from the baseline of feelingness. That's it. It's always it. You know, you can see that it's breathing you. You're being breathed. You don't need a spiritual metaphor or a clever remark from someone else, or alive or deceased.
There is this feeling of clamoring, clawing, desperate ego trying to, or whatever you want to call it. Like me
I know.
trying to get back.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it wants to get back in the game.
Yeah, I mean, really frantic.
Uh-huh. Yep. It's the same mindfulness you do on the cushion if you're practicing Vipassana or Zen or something Shinzen might suggest, or even Gary Weber might suggest. You have this. So you feel it. See whether you're gifted with delight. Without content. Without a place you've come from. Or a place that you perhaps hope to get to. Absolute simplicity. Cogent, not special. Freedom from self. Maybe that's why it's referred to as awake or realization or something like that. It's not like you found something new or have had a cathartic experience that requires a handful of postcards sent to close friends.
Well, days would be tweeted, I guess.
You're allowed to tweet.
Always correcting us.
Hashtag enlightened.
Enough about you. What about you? What about me? Fuck you. I'm free. But you see how curious it is, because this notion we have of, let's say, freedom or liberation or some kind of accoutrement can only make sense if there's someone that you can pin the badge upon.
Yeah.
Right? Why go into a SIG meeting and make a big deal about not seeking
Yeah.
anymore?
So it's more accurate to say I'm not liberated because there's no me.
You don't. You see how
Those birds
Still
don't
come
mean
back to what I
anything.
know.
you see how ridiculously
Yeah.
happy you are with it being nothing at all.
Yeah.
Why raise your hand? Go, ooh, something happened to me. Did it?
Right.
What could it have possibly been? If it was some kind of recognition, I would suggest, well, go back and try again.
It's so arbitrary, whatever we place like the specialness on, like, it's very obvious. Like things are happening to you all 20 nonstop.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's right.
And
Yeah, and that's right. Yeah. Now this, whatever this is or isn't, I mean, it's gonna, it'll grow on you.
Kind of like a feminist.
I just wondered if it had the Buddha seal on it. It's a Buddha.
You turn the corner when
lesserevil.com.
what?
The website is lesserevil.com.
Lesser evil. Wow, cool.
Sorry.
Wasn't saying anything.
Well, that's my.
When you turn the corner on,
Oh yes.
Just assuming the finish of that sentence.
When you're no longer drunk with becoming, which means either wiggling towards something or wiggling away from something, then it's just this simplicity.
It takes a certain level of maturity to let go of the wiggling.
Yes. That's why there's suffering as an encouragement. But it's fun to, you could say, have all of that inertial force of getting to the bottom of this just evaporate.
So, go away.
At the
Right.
same time, the inertial force to build a life and hold on to things that used to be of value starts to evaporate. It's like,
Oh, yes.
fuck.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Your touchstone is yourself at the beginning. It's not blatantly misleading to say, oh, strange, I have fewer thoughts, or I don't have any thoughts. That's okay. But for that to become the principal fetish that punctuates your teaching is going to easily be misunderstood.
Yeah, if you go to the carnival, you know, there's the bearded lady and then there's the guy with no thoughts. So.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Hey, is that the guy with no thought? He has a beard too. Yeah. You see how having no thoughts and then discussing that from the point of view of self and experience with others and, you know, tabula rasa and the smoothness of getting through your day, it becomes another distraction, becomes another hook, becomes another enviable condition that you want to set out in search of.
It's an arbitrary specialization in some sort.
Yes.
I mean, I just see
absolutely.
myself doing it all the time. Is like, you know, I don't tell people the shitty things when I have a fucked up dream. I don't want to tell anyone about that. But if I have a dream that I think is cool, I'm like, hey guys, look what happened to me.
Hey, guys.
It's totally
Right.
arbitrary though. It's like, whoa, wait, you really start to see how arbitrary all the bizarre distinctions that you make special, not special, something happened, something didn't happen. It's like things are it's happening all the time.
There I was snuggling with Jennifer Lawrence and she turned into Jack Black. Ah!
Well, I don't know, but it occurs to me that going after no thought.
Yeah.
As the goal is kind of, that's not a goal, really. I mean, no thought.
Nothing can be.
Right.
Any
but,
goal is way too
maybe
much.
I'm wrong about this, but it seems like there's this presentation of no thought as being a goal, and it there's something deeper than that, and no thought may be accompanied
Yes. Right.
something.
Yeah.
There's the initial sort of calling or hook, I guess, but after that, I guess you get obsessed with all the hooks. You're probably pretty
Well,
distracted.
And I can tell you, I'm like so aware of all these hooks and all these things, and I mean, I'm like sort of a neurotic nutcase.
Well, that's the other T-shirt we're gonna
Yeah.
print.
If there's any value
And-
in sitting
Pattern
quietly,
junkie
it's
/ neurotic nutcase.
seeing that.
Yeah,
You sit quiet often
I-
enough with this crazy
I
head,
see it.
and
all right.
that will be very obvious.
Yeah, it's pretty clear.
Yeah. So you can see that attention is hijacked
Yeah.
by the disquietude and the quarrel that we have, with being a distractible nutcase. like banging one's head against the wall if it comes to that, because thinking will just not shut the fuck up. Yeah. Uh-huh. Right. Yeah. Well, our journey then is discovering something that's arising present in your experience, which is unhooked, unhookable, unfettered, unencumbered. Doesn't have a quarrel with anything, doesn't resist anything. Huh. But you see, that's not, that non-resistance is not an accoutrement of self. It's the release of self, right? Yeah. It's easy to get hung up in, God, what do I do about myself?
Yeah, as if it's some active principle that
Yes.
has to be.
That's
put
right.
forth.
That's right. You see, it's the myth that an active principle has actually come to visit you and has, got you. Yeah. You're relaxing from the myth of the active principle. Yes. Uh-huh. Life is going to kill you sooner or later, most likely ungloriously.
Just be stepped on like a centipede.
If you're lucky, you'll arrive on a quilt in somebody's lap,
Yeah, right.
long dead.
Bigfoot.
You don't even know when you're dead anyway.
Probably not, yeah. This room is just full of really smelly cadavers, and no one's had the kindness to say, would you just move along in here? Smelling the place up. Get out.
I had a kind of weird experience. I was in the Dominican Republic and I whacked my head on the bottom of the ocean.
On the bottom of the ocean?
Mhm.
Or did you dive in from a high
Diving into
place?
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's pretty deep, man.
Yeah,
I hope you really.
Of course, I was
put-
probably-
somewhere like the Mariana Trench, how deep are we talking about?
I'm impressed.
And I sort of like, oh no, maybe but I had this thought that maybe I don't know if it was like a dream or something.
Oh,
The person I was with was like, people were looking at me, well, like she died, and I don't know I'm dead. I'm like still here, like hanging out with people, thinking I'm still like hanging out with people, and everybody's like, oh, do you remember Lisa from when she used to be like,
guys, I'm still here.
I'm here. What kind of a therapy situation is that? That's like, whoa. You know what I mean?
I think so. I'd like to say yes. I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
something to do with the Bermuda Triangle or something.
Yeah,
There we go.
Yeah, it was a Bermuda Triangle. It was,
that was it.
Even the ganja down there was a little more powerful than you're used to.
Strange down
Something
there.
to a vortex. And
That's right.
something like
emailed
that.
that.
That island leaving kick your ass.
Come to find out, I'm really dead.
It could be.
And yeah, it was kind of a strange, it was like a weird experience. One of those.
Probably concussion, right?
I thought that maybe I did have,
To suggest that you can make this comprehensible, that's a stretch.
We can find patterns, but then they kind of get weird. They don't pan out necessarily.
That's interesting to see, in the midst of our so-called daily experience, or what it is that we recall about our daily experience, or let's say the immediacy of present experience, there's nothing to grasp. There's nothing to hold on to. Nothing actually ever becomes anything. You're just hopping from lily pad to lily pad of implication. You don't get anywhere. There's no finality to the texture of experience itself. You're depressurizing. You could say having an ego is like having the bends.
Having the what?
The bends. If you come up,
You have to
if you
come up too
come up
fast.
too fast underwater and your nitrogen and internal pressures are off, you can get disoriented and then start swimming down, thinking you're heading for the surface. That's when your oxygen runs out and someone says, "That fucker had a bad case of the bends." It's very tricky to feel the pressure to become, the pressure to accomplish, the pressure to arrive, the pressure to figure it out, the pressure to solve a problem, the pressure to become fucking enlightened. And it's like, oh God, it's like, it's an unrelenting
Well, it's
pressure field.
it's become second nature, so to speak.
Yes, it does. I mean, for the typical human, whatever that is, this unrelenting pressure field of the implication of time and becoming becomes second nature, or we
Which is a funny way of putting it.
habituate to it.
Identity.
Well, being an
Sounds like
independent,
identity.
discrete, like disparate character creates an immediate pressure field of sorts, imaginarily. Because there's always something streaming in, coming to get you if you're outside of it. You know
There's
what I
always
mean?
something.
It's constant.
Always something coming to get you.
You can't get away from it.
No.
You're just like trying to run, figure it out, run away,
But a lot of
negotiate.
the yogic tools, you could say, are used to medicate the disquietude or the discomfort of this pressure field.
You can be a sanguine, disparate, discrete character. Oh, thanks. Great.
Yeah. So there's something to be said for just suffering, not in the hysterical way that we often do, but that's fine too. Suffer the presence of this pressure field that seduces you into becoming. Like that, for instance, suffer it like that, yeah. You can laugh it off too.
Preferably like that.
That's a good idea. Yeah, this yoga is useless.
But the popcorn's good.
You see, we tend to run away from a certain kind of root suffering by moving into distraction and then problem solving, justification and exaggeration and problem solving. when it might turn out to be more useful just to drop into total yuck. Like, really? I mean, really? Oh, fuck. And,
Really get a sense of it.
just feel it out. Just feel the pressure field that is trying to suck you into a belief or a superstition or into becoming, or that you should do something about something.
Morph so fast that you're like, oh.
It can. See, by when we try to run from the primal yuck, we just end up in, one iteration after another of some kind of failed amelioration. She knows it. She knows it well. Yeah. Duh. Are you talking about me again? So it might be fun just to, marvel at just how, potent the primal urgency to become is. Like, oh, Jesus. Oh, fuck.
It pisses me off that the very thing that we're sort of trying to achieve is like the nothingness, and yet it's whipping back on you. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
It's a boomerang.
mhm.
Yeah.
You're trying to achieve nothingness, but you can't say it's something, because that's worse than saying nothing. You're caught in the fucking squirrel cage. You're on the wheel.
Yep. You're on the wheel. Yeah, that's right. You're on the wheel.
And you have to, I don't know who's listening to this stuff, but you have to wonder if some of these characters.
NSA, that's about it.
I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody somewhere had to decide to say something because.
You mean like Jesus?
Him.
Somebody somewhere.
Buddha.
Yeah. Didn't work out too well.
Kind of backfired.
Yeah, you find yourself hanging on a cross. Damn it, on that cross again.
Yeah, just start over. Just start over. Right here. Oh, yeah. Huh. I don't remember this ever happening before. Did this ever happen before? Excuse me. I don't remember this. Huh. Wow. This never happened before. Wow, this
And the Alzheimer's wouldn't be so bad.
is brand new.
You already have Alzheimer's. You just start paying any fucking attention
Really?
if you
Got a
think that you don't have
bad case of it.
Alzheimer's. You're real good at tricking yourself into thinking that you don't have it. You know what's going on and you can remember shit.
Yeah, all the studies they do, whoever they are and whenever they're done, about the accuracy of memory, they all come up like, you don't remember shit about shit.
Wasn't there one pretty recently? Heard something about it. When you were talking about it.
That was on that call the other night.
It's not that
Bruce was talking about
not
the
that
9/11 one.
difficult
Oh,
to
yeah.
see
Yeah.
that as you feel or consider your present experience, that it's appearing to you freshly. It's not the product of anything.
Well, one gets so wrapped into the idea of a history and a memory and things that happened before that one can easily get bored too, you know? But
Absolutely.
It's by going, letting the mind roll, you know?
No, I mean, part of the profile of hysteria includes, boredom. Yeah. Oh boy. So, you could characterize, let's say, your more relaxed consciousness from the point of view of, let's say, Gary Weber or whomever, talking about how things are working out more smoothly or effectively or efficiently or whatever in the rhythm of my so-called day or my so-called life. And you can see how that's still is a gravitational field. It's still holding you to, that your average day or what you get done in it or not done in it is somehow
It's goal oriented.
Yeah. Again, it's like goal oriented, and now your goals are happening more smoothly because without suffering from thought, everything is spontaneously arising with less resistance and less confusion, right? There's more silence and there's more space, and I can't wait to go grocery shopping. There might be, can we call them aspects or qualities of your most intimate experience that really has nothing at all to do with the cogency or programmability of your life. That's the transhuman perfume. How free do you want to be? Which of the apparent fields that define your existence or experience are you still loyal to? The body, the mind, the waking state, the sleeping state, the grocery shopping, relationships with others?
Yeah, like if it comes down to just getting your taxes done early, that's kind of boring.
It can be a thrill, the first time it happens, let's say. Right. Agreeably, it's a little challenging to talk about or introduce a texture of transcendence to your present experience, because our vocabulary is not all that well suited to it, right? Our vocabulary is typically suited to going and doing and becoming and measuring and comparing and putting grain away for a bad winter. So when we talk about the presence of unspeakable experience, that's a little.
Well, that's the way it sort of seems. It's just like it's interpreted that way in some way too, and because that's the way it's conditioned. Like if I say me, you think I mean me.
Yeah.
But I could just say me and mean this whole entire experience as well. It's just the way that, you know what I mean? It's just agreed upon.
Yeah.
The way that we're used to relating to each other, or whatever we think. Oh, when someone says me, they mean body.
Right. Yes.
Well, and I think a lot of times, that's why it's real tempting to use Eastern words, words, from the Bhagavad Gita or Buddha or something like that.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Because those concepts, the Indian concepts, they seem to allow for.
Uh-huh.
I think we need to study Sanskrit.
We could all just agree that when we say me, it means this whole room. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's.
We could agree, but I'm sure people are going to start lying.
I know, it's just arbitrary. It doesn't really matter, It's like.
That's right.
Well, I know, I've
Sanskrit,
thought about that a lot about objectifying the body and saying this body and stuff like that. It seems really preposterous to actually do that.
It's pretty preposterous. Any questions?
Now that the delivery
We
is.
made a pretty good dent in this bag of popcorn.
I know, we killed it, didn't we?
No,
There's not much left.
Sweet.
That was delicious.
not talking about it.
I thought I tasted something in
Pretend
there.
like that
I thought it
didn't
was
happen.
Cooked in coconut oil.
Mhm.
It's vegan and organic and all
Coconut
kinds
oil
of
and-
things.
Himalayan sea salt. You can get enlightened eating this fucking popcorn.
Anyone, last call for dark chocolate,
It might be coffee.
88%. Too potent for most.
Good days. Thank you.
Well, I'll turn off the broadcast and then we can gossip about shit. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us, Stumpy Square.